Hello, brothers, and welcome to Sigma Old Man Channel. The rarest form of power is kindness that doesn't ask for recognition. In a world where most people are kind only when someone's watching, or when they expect a return favor, Sigma males operate on a completely different frequency. Psychologists have found that acts of kindness not tied to reward actually create deeper trust and stronger human bonds than any grand display of generosity. And that's where Sigma males quietly excel. They don't parade their goodness. They don't sprinkle sugar on words just to look polite. In fact, half the time their kindness doesn't even look like kindness at first glance. It's the type that shields you from chaos, respects your independence, and leaves you stronger instead of dependent. It's not soft. It's surgical, precise, unshakable. And perhaps the most ironic part? While society often labels them as aloof or detached, the truth is they may be the kindest people you'll ever meet. The kind that doesn't come wrapped in shiny bows or Instagram captions, but the kind that changes the way you breathe when you realize you've been treated with genuine humanity. So buckle in, because what you're about to discover isn't some fluffy self-help cliché. It's the raw, untold reality of why Sigma males redefine kindness in ways the rest of the world can barely comprehend. And yes, if you were expecting them to hand out cookies while humming Disney songs, wrong channel. Number one, they don't infantilize you. Sigma males show a form of kindness that often gets overlooked because it doesn't look like the warm, hand-holding type the world is used to. They refuse to treat people like fragile ornaments. That might sound cold to some, but in reality it's one of the greatest forms of respect anyone can give. Most people, without even realizing it, infantilize others when they try to be kind. They step in too quickly, they coddle, they soften every edge of life until the other person is left weaker, not stronger. Sigma males don't do that. They see you as capable, even when you're breaking, and they honor that by not reducing you to a helpless child who needs rescuing at every step. This is a different brand of kindness, one rooted in belief rather than sympathy. When a Sigma male steps back and lets you face the storm without wrapping you in bubble wrap, he's telling you silently, I know you're stronger than you think. And that kind of confidence in your ability is far more empowering than pity ever could be. They won't strip you of dignity by rushing in with exaggerated concern. Instead, they give you space to carry your own weight because they know that's how strength is built. The beauty of it is that their approach doesn't feel condescending. They're not standing on the sidelines judging or mocking. They're simply not interfering with your process of growth. And when they do step in, it's precise, not smothering. They'll lend a hand only when it's truly needed, not when it makes them look noble. That level of restraint takes discipline because most people love the feeling of being someone's savior. Sigma males resist that ego trap, and in doing so, they give you something far more valuable, your self-respect. It may not feel like the typical soft kindness people crave, but it's the kind that leaves you stronger after the encounter. In a world that thrives on dependency and victimhood, the Sigma male's refusal to infantilize you is a radical kindness. It's not about keeping you comfortable, it's about keeping you powerful. And that's a gift most people don't even realize they've been given until much later. Number two, they protect your absence as much as your presence. One of the most underrated acts of kindness a Sigma male shows is how he protects your absence just as much as your presence. For most people, loyalty has an expiration date. The moment you walk out of the room, they feel free to reshape the story, to dissect your flaws, or to use your name as currency in casual conversations. But Sigma males don't play that game. If you're not around, they won't sell you out. They won't rewrite your character to score points with whoever's listening. In a society where reputations are shredded the second backs are turned, this kind of quiet loyalty is a rare and powerful kindness. It isn't that they're saints or moral perfectionists. It's that Sigma males have no appetite for the cheap drama that comes with betrayal. Talking badly about someone who can't defend themselves feels low to them, and they would rather stay silent than feed into gossip. That silence becomes its own shield. It preserves your dignity when you aren't there to preserve it yourself. Even if you've hurt them in the past, their instinct isn't to smear you. Their way of leaving is clean without dragging your name through the mud just to feel justified. What makes this especially striking is how effortless it is for them. They don't need to remind you of their loyalty. They don't announce it to prove how good they are. They simply live it. You only realize the depth of their kindness later when you hear from others that they never spoke ill of you, not even when they had the chance. That's when it hits you how rare that quality really is. Protecting someone's absence might not feel dramatic on the surface, but it has a lasting weight. It means your trust in them wasn't misplaced. It means you never have to look over your shoulder wondering if they're tearing you down when you're gone. And in a world where words spread faster than actions, that restraint is priceless. Sigma males may not shower you with public declarations of loyalty, but their refusal to betray you in silence is the ultimate form of kindness, one that proves itself only when you're not there to witness it. Number 3, they give freedom instead of chains. The greatest kindness a Sigma male gives is freedom. Not the shallow version of freedom where someone says do what you want while secretly pulling strings, but genuine release, an unshackling of expectations, control and manipulation. When most people love, they cling. They attach conditions, they create invisible contracts, they bind you with their needs and call it care. Sigma males don't operate that way. Their version of love, loyalty and kindness doesn't come with chains. They know that if they have to hold you captive, it was never real in the first place. Letting people go is one of the hardest things in life because it means giving up control, ego and the illusion of possession. Most people can't stomach it, but Sigma males accept that holding on too tightly often destroys the very thing they wanted to keep. Their kindness shows up in that quiet release, allowing you to walk away if you choose without resentment, without theatrics, without plotting to make you regret it. They might care deeply, but they won't reduce you to a prisoner of their emotions. That's not weakness on their part, it's strength. It's trust in themselves that even if you leave, they'll be fine. This kind of freedom is rare because it's so selfless. They don't guilt you, they don't blackmail you emotionally, they don't use kindness as leverage to bind you to them. They understand that true connection only matters when it's voluntary. That's why when you stay in their life, you know it's not out of fear or obligation. It's because you want to be there, and that makes every bond with them feel more authentic, more alive. It may sound paradoxical, but by letting you go, they often end up holding a more genuine place in your life. The absence of chains makes their presence feel lighter, richer, and more real. Freedom is the ultimate kindness because it honors your individuality, your choices, and your right to exist on your own terms. Sigma males embody that principle without needing applause. And it's this very gift, the willingness to release without bitterness, that makes their kindness unlike anything you'll find elsewhere. Number 4, they see the human, not the mask. Most people don't even realize how much of themselves they hide behind masks. We all carry them, roles we slip into depending on who we're around. At work, you're the professional. With friends, you're the entertainer. In relationships, you become the partner who fits someone else's picture of what love should look like. Over time, people stop seeing the real you and only interact with these costumes. It's easier that way, safer, more predictable. But this is where Sigma males stand apart. They don't just talk to the version of you you've rehearsed for the world, they see through it, straight into the person you are when no one's watching. What makes this a unique kind of kindness is that they don't exploit what they find. They don't weaponize your vulnerabilities or judge you for the parts you keep hidden. Instead, they acknowledge it, accept it, and relate to you on that deeper level. For most people, being truly seen is terrifying because it leaves you exposed. But with a Sigma male, that exposure feels safe, almost relieving. They strip away the performance without shaming you for having it. This ability comes from their own refusal to live fully in the mask society hands them. Because they reject shallow validation, they're not interested in connecting with just your title, your popularity, or your achievements. They'd rather deal with the unfiltered, unpolished version of you, the part most others overlook. And that's why their kindness feels so different. It doesn't flatter your image, it nourishes your soul. Being seen this way has a lasting impact. When someone recognizes the raw human in you and still accepts you, it changes how you see yourself. You feel less pressured to maintain the exhausting act, less burdened by expectations, and more alive in your own skin. That's not just kindness. It's liberation. It's the kind of rare gift that stays with you long after the moment has passed. Sigma males don't offer it to everyone, but when they do, it's unforgettable. Because there's nothing more human or more healing than being loved without the mask. Number 5, they don't exploit weakness. Most people, when they discover someone else's weakness, instinctively hold on to it like a weapon. It becomes leverage, something to pull out later in an argument, a way to tip the balance of power, or even just a subtle reminder of who's in control. It's human nature to exploit vulnerability because in a world driven by ego, power feels like the ultimate prize. But Sigma males don't play by that script. When they see your weakness, they don't see opportunity, they see responsibility. And that difference is what makes their restraint one of the purest forms of kindness. Having the upper hand is tempting. It feeds pride, it offers shortcuts, and it guarantees the Sigma could always win if they wanted to. But they refuse to use your weakest moment against you because they understand the weight of betrayal. They know how it feels to be exposed, and they're unwilling to be the source of that kind of wound. Their self-control is invisible. You may never even notice it, but it quietly protects you in ways you'll only realize later. What makes this kindness so powerful is its silence. They won't brag about it, they won't make you feel indebted, and they won't remind you of how easily they could have crushed you. Instead, they keep it tucked away, never to be used. That kind of discipline doesn't come from softness, it comes from strength. It's easy to abuse power. It's far harder to carry it without ever letting it slip into cruelty. This restraint builds a level of trust you don't often find in people. You begin to feel safe knowing that your flaws won't be turned into ammunition, that safety isn't loud or glamorous, but it's rare and it's real. In a culture where most relationships are transactional and weaknesses are liabilities, the Sigma male's refusal to exploit yours is nothing short of radical kindness. It's proof that their character values humanity over dominance, and that the truest strength isn't in how hard you can strike, but in how often you choose not to. Number 6, they let you shine without feeling threatened. One of the rarest things about Sigma males is that they don't see someone else's success as a threat to their own worth. In a world built on comparison, where people secretly measure themselves against everyone around them, it's almost expected that someone will try to outshine you or quietly root for your downfall. Sigma males break that cycle. They don't need to compete with you to validate themselves, and that's exactly why they can let you shine without flinching. This is more than just tolerance, it's genuine encouragement. They'll quietly nudge you forward, open space for your talents, and even celebrate your wins without turning it into a competition. Their self-confidence doesn't depend on being the best in the room, so they don't scramble to dim your light just to make theirs look brighter. In fact, your success often confirms what they already believe, that there's enough space for everyone to thrive without stepping on each other. What makes this kindness stand out is how effortless it feels. They won't parade their support for applause or try to attach themselves to your victory to look good by association. Their encouragement is subtle, often unnoticed, but deeply felt. They might drop a few words at the right moment that shift your perspective, or they'll simply step back and let you take the spotlight when others would have tried to steal it. It's kindness without ego, and that's why it feels so rare. Being around someone like that changes how you see yourself. You start to move with more freedom because you're not bracing for jealousy or sabotage. You realize your growth doesn't threaten them, and that realization makes you even stronger. In a world where many relationships are built on unspoken rivalry, having someone who simply lets you shine is a quiet revolution. Sigma males don't compete with your light because they've already made peace with their own. That's why their kindness feels so liberating. It isn't about being better, louder, or brighter. It's about making sure you never have to dim yourself to make them comfortable. And that kind of rare acceptance is a kindness you never forget. Number 7, they don't force their version of help on you. One of the subtlest but most powerful forms of kindness Sigma males show is in how they approach helping others. For most people, help isn't always about you, it's about them. They want to feel needed, important, or heroic, so they rush in with solutions whether or not you asked for them. The problem is that kind of help often feels like suffocation. It strips you of agency, makes you dependent, and leaves you with the unspoken pressure of owing them something back. Sigma males don't operate that way. Their kindness lies in restraint, the discipline to hold back unless their help is truly wanted, or absolutely necessary. This respect for your autonomy may not look like kindness on the surface, but it is. It takes awareness to resist the urge to impose. They understand that sometimes you don't need saving, you just need space to figure things out on your own. By not interfering, they give you the dignity of owning your journey, even if it's messy. That's a rare kind of compassion because it requires putting your needs above their desire to feel useful. When they do step in, it's precise and meaningful. It's not about grand gestures or trying to control the outcome. It's about doing what actually helps in that critical moment. You'll never see them rushing in to solve problems just to look noble in front of others. Their help when it comes is clean, deliberate, and without hidden motives, and because it's rare, it carries more weight. This way of helping builds trust. You never feel like they're hovering, waiting for you to stumble so they can swoop in. You never feel like a project being fixed. Instead, you feel respected enough to try, to fail, and to grow on your own terms. That's a deeper kindness than constant intervention could ever be. In a world full of people who confuse control with care, the Sigma male's refusal to force his version of help is refreshing. It proves that kindness isn't always about action. Sometimes the kindest thing someone can do is step back, trust your strength, and only stand beside you when it truly matters. Number 8, they stay when it's inconvenient. The real test of kindness isn't how someone treats you when everything is smooth, it's how they act when showing up for you costs them something. Most people are quick to be present when there's a reward attached, when loyalty is visible, or when it makes them look good. But when it's inconvenient, when it demands sacrifice, time, or quiet effort, they suddenly vanish. Sigma males are the opposite. Their kindness reveals itself in the moments nobody applauds, the moments when being there for you doesn't give them a single benefit. They'll stay, even when silence is the only recognition they'll ever get. This doesn't mean they'll hover or smother you. Their way of showing up is often understated, even invisible to outsiders. But it's real. They'll sit through the hard parts without needing to be noticed, and they'll stand by you in those unglamorous spaces most people avoid. That willingness to remain steady when it's uncomfortable is not about duty. It's about principle. They don't measure loyalty by convenience, they measure it by truth. What makes this so striking is that they rarely announce it. They won't broadcast how much they sacrificed, and they won't remind you later of what they did. Their kindness is clean, free of strings. When they choose to stay, it's because they believe you're worth it, not because they want leverage for the future. That purity of intent is rare in a culture where every favor is tallied and every act of support is posted online for validation. It's in those small, inconvenient moments that you realize the weight of their presence. They don't need an audience, and they don't need a payoff. They're there because loyalty to them isn't situational, it's chosen. And once they choose, it runs deep. The truth is, kindness that costs nothing means little. Sigma males understand this, which is why their loyalty feels different. They don't just appear when it's easy, they remain when it's hard. And that kind of quiet, inconvenient presence might be the purest kindness of all. Number 9, they don't take advantage of silence. Silence is uncomfortable for most people. They rush to fill it with small talk, judgments, or probing questions because they can't stand the stillness. And often that noise isn't harmless. It carries pressure, expectations, or subtle manipulation. But Sigma males approach silence differently. They don't see it as a void to be filled or a weakness to be exploited. Instead, they let silence breathe, and in doing so, they create one of the safest spaces you'll ever experience. This is a kindness that often goes unnoticed, but it's profound. When you're with them, you don't feel the demand to perform, explain, or prove yourself. They don't use silence to corner you into revealing more than you want to, and they don't twist it into a power play. They simply let it exist. That restraint, choosing not to weaponize silence, gives you the rare freedom to just be. The beauty of this is that it removes the invisible weight most interactions carry. You're not scrambling to impress or defend yourself. You're not second-guessing what they're thinking in the pause. Their calm acceptance of quiet moments makes you feel less judged, less exposed. It's a rare relief in a world that constantly demands noise and explanation. And when they do eventually speak, it carries more meaning. Their words aren't filler, they're intentional. That balance between silence and speech shows a discipline most people lack. It proves they don't need to dominate every moment or control the rhythm of an interaction. They trust that presence alone can be enough. In its simplest form, this is kindness without performance. It doesn't shout, it doesn't sparkle, and it doesn't get celebrated. But it's felt. It's the kind of subtle care that allows you to relax into yourself without fear of being misunderstood or judged. Sigma males know that silence isn't empty, it's honest. And by refusing to exploit it, they give you something priceless, a space where you're free to exist without pressure. That in itself is a rare and unforgettable kindness. Number 10, they don't put you in debt. One of the most refreshing things about a Sigma male's kindness is how clean it is. When they do something for you, that's the end of it. No invisible contracts, no emotional IOUs, no silent expectations hanging over your head. Too often people wrap generosity in strings. They give, but the gift is really a leash. They'll remind you of it later, use it to guilt you, or expect repayment in loyalty, favors, or submission. Sigma males despise that kind of manipulation, which is why their kindness feels so different. When they help, it's genuine, and it stops with the act itself. They won't bring it up 6 months later during an argument. They won't drop hints about how much they've done for you, and they won't keep a mental scoreboard. That refusal to turn kindness into currency is rare in a world where almost everything is transactional. With a Sigma male, you can accept without suspicion because you know there's no hidden trap waiting to snap shut. This doesn't mean they're careless with their generosity. In fact, the opposite is true. They're selective because they don't believe in wasting energy on people who only take advantage. But once they decide to extend it, it comes with a purity that's hard to find. It's not about boosting their ego or earning your loyalty. It's about doing the right thing in that moment and letting it go. The impact of this runs deeper than most realize. Being on the receiving end of such self-contained kindness changes the way you carry yourself. You don't feel burdened or indebted. You feel respected. You don't move forward worrying about paying them back. You move forward lighter, knowing the gesture was real. That's a rare gift because most kindness in the modern world comes with invisible chains attached. Sigma males break that pattern. Their generosity has no hooks, no leverage, no hidden terms. It's kindness for the sake of kindness, and that's exactly why it leaves such a lasting impression. When you walk away, you don't feel trapped, you feel free. And in a world built on transactions, freedom is the most priceless gift anyone can give. Number 11, they can walk away without revenge. When most people get hurt, their first instinct is retaliation. They want the other person to feel the sting, to carry scars as proof of what was done. Revenge becomes a way of regaining balance, of proving they weren't weak. But Sigma males don't waste themselves like that. If you betray or wound them, they won't spend months scheming payback or turning every interaction into a battlefield. The kindest thing they do is simply walk away. They remove themselves from the chaos without poisoning your life further, and that restraint is more powerful than any act of revenge could ever be. This isn't because they don't feel the pain, they do. They just process it differently. Instead of obsessing over getting even, they accept the loss, cut the cord, and move on with their dignity intact. That clean break is rare because most people need revenge to feel closure. Sigma males don't. Their closure comes from reclaiming their peace of mind, not from dragging you down with them. And strangely, that detachment is its own form of kindness. By refusing to retaliate, they spare you the cycle of destruction that revenge always creates. They don't smear your name, they don't turn mutual friends against you, and they don't sabotage your future. They let you carry on with your life, even if you don't deserve the grace. For them, revenge isn't worth the energy. It only ties them to the very person they want distance from. What makes this so powerful is the silence behind it. They won't announce that they're taking the high road. They won't flaunt forgiveness. They just vanish from the battlefield altogether, leaving you to wrestle with your own conscience. And in many ways, that absence is heavier than revenge could ever be. Because while revenge might bruise, silence forces you to face yourself. The Sigma male's ability to walk away without revenge is a rare kind of mercy. It doesn't excuse what was done, but it prevents the wound from spreading. It keeps both lives cleaner, freer. In a world addicted to getting even, their refusal to retaliate is proof that sometimes the greatest kindness is also the simplest, letting go. Number 12, their kindness isn't a transaction. Most people's kindness comes with a price tag, even if it's hidden. They'll offer help, affection, or support, but somewhere in the back of their mind they're keeping a record. Later you'll hear about it. After everything I've done for you. It turns into a bargaining chip, a tool to demand loyalty, attention, or validation. That kind of generosity feels more like a loan than a gift. Sigma males operate differently. When they give, it's clean. No hidden terms, no unspoken expectations, no fine print waiting to trap you. Their kindness isn't a transaction, it's real. This doesn't mean they hand out kindness carelessly. In fact, they're often selective with it because they refuse to cheapen it. But when they decide to give, they do it without a secret agenda. If they help you, it's because they wanted to, not because they're trying to secure a favor down the road. If they offer support, it's genuine, not bait for future control. That's why their kindness feels so rare. It doesn't come with the weight of a debt hanging over your head. The absence of expectation is liberating. You're not constantly worrying about how to repay them or calculating what they'll want in return. You can accept their generosity without suspicion, without feeling like you've been placed under an obligation. And that freedom, knowing you're not trapped in an unspoken contract, makes their kindness hit even deeper. What makes this powerful is that it often goes unnoticed until you look back. You realize months later that they never cashed in on that moment. They stood by you. Never reminded you of the time they helped. Never leveraged your gratitude. In a world where people often disguise control as generosity, that silence speaks volumes. Sigma males don't just give, they release. Their kindness is complete the moment it's offered, and because of that, it feels purer, more trustworthy, more human. It isn't about what they'll get from you, it's about what they chose to give in that moment. That's why their kindness stands apart. It's not a currency, it's a gift. And gifts, when truly given, don't come with strings attached. Kindness in the hands of a Sigma male isn't the polished, performative version the world is used to. It doesn't beg for recognition. It doesn't arrive with strings attached, and it doesn't suffocate you with forced gestures. It shows up in silence, in restraint, in the discipline to respect your autonomy instead of hijacking it. It's in the way they don't exploit weakness, don't put you in debt, and don't compete with your light. It's in the way they protect your absence as much as your presence, and in how they let you go without bitterness when holding on would only cage you. What makes their kindness so rare is that it isn't rooted in ego. It's rooted in respect. Respect for your strength, your independence, and your right to exist on your own terms. In a world obsessed with transactional care, Sigma males quietly remind us that true kindness is never about control. It's about leaving you freer, stronger, and more yourself than you were before. And maybe that's why their kindness is so unforgettable. It doesn't shine with fanfare or demand a spotlight. It's quiet, surgical, and often invisible until you look back and realize how deeply it shaped you. That's the paradox of Sigma kindness. It's the kind you almost miss in the moment, but never stop feeling once it's gone. So while others chase applause for their generosity, Sigma males continue to redefine kindness in the shadows, not as a performance, but as a principle. And that, more than anything, is what makes them the kindest people you'll ever meet. If you've made it this far, you already know this wasn't your usual sugar-coated take. We've peeled back the surface and shown you the raw, unfiltered truth about the kind of kindness Sigma males carry, the kind most people overlook until it changes them. If that hit you, if it opened your eyes or made you rethink what real kindness looks like, then don't just walk away quietly. Subscribe to the channel and join a space where depth always replaces fluff. Hit that like button if this spoke to you, and drop your thoughts in the comments. I want to hear your take, your experiences, your perspective. And don't keep this to yourself. Share it with someone who needs to understand that kindness isn't weakness, it's strength mastered in silence. This channel isn't just about content, it's about conversation, it's about community, and it's about shifting the way we see the world one brutally honest truth at a time. So subscribe, like, comment, and share, and let's keep tearing down the masks together.